And welcome to the Operations Services Committee meeting of March 19th, 2024. On this meeting is Chair Thiessen, who is away, so I am stepping in for him. He is, however, online and will be participating. Also, Councillor Berg is here in chambers, and Mayor Clayton is not available for this meeting. So we will start with an adoption of the agenda, please. Councillor Berg.
Thank you, Chair Blackmore. I would like to move committee adopt the agenda as presented.
And I'll call that question. And that does carry. We have no delegations today, so we'll move to service area update. Chief Glavin.
Thank you, Chair Blackmore. We'll start with engineering services. We've recently closed tenders for the Lakeland culvert replacement as well as the 2024 sidewalk rehabilitation Phase 1 program. In facilities and energy, we are currently starting seasonal preparation work for the summer pool as well as the other seasonal buildings in anticipation of spring startups here that seem to be coming quickly. In transit, just a little bit of information over the first 2 months of this year, over the first 2 months of last year, we're seeing a pretty significant increase in ridership. So for adults, we're up 54% over the same 2 months last year. Youth ridership's up 132%, and the accessible transit ridership is up 29%. So continuing to see growth in transit ridership, and we'll continue to monitor that and advise council if service levels become compromised. In transportation, crews have been working 24 hours a day to open storm lines, outfalls, and culverts to handle the spring runoff. They have also begun some spring cleanup work with manually sweeping islands along arterial roads. Street sweepers are being dewinterized, and we should see them out in the next week or so, depending on weather, and potholing is currently underway. As well, some of you may have received some community feedback over snow and ice control operations over the last week with what appears odd of having equipment out during warm temperatures. Staff were out there doing some proactive ice control in areas that are prone to flooding to get gutters specifically open. The decision was made to do that last week when we were expecting 20 centimeters of snow this week. All of that snow has moved south to Calgary, where they're now expecting 30 plus centimeters of snow this week. So some of the proactive work didn't materialize due to a change in the weather. But if anyone is wondering, largely it was try to mitigate flooding based on what we knew at the time. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
I love it when we send our snow to Calgary. Do we have any questions? Councillor Thiessen knows thumbs up. So we will move on to reservoir refilling and ask Chief Glavin to introduce this.
Thank you, Chair Blackmore. Administration was directed to bring back information regarding the refilling of the reservoir, including preferred timing and any cost implications. The general theme that you'll see is that regulatory burdens continue to increase with the operation of the spillway and dam, and that's increasing the costs of operations and maintenance. And because of that, we are recommending not filling the dam at this time until future work that is identified and budgeted for currently is complete. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Harvard.
Go ahead, gentlemen.
Thank you. Through the chair.
It should come on automatically. Yeah. But yeah.
Thank you. Through the chair.
The whole mic will slide forward if you just tug it, like pull it towards you. Perfect. Yeah.
Sorry. Thank you. Through the chair. A request was previously made to provide an update on the refilling of the reservoir, which is the area behind the Bear River control structure.
And you're going to need to speak up a little louder.
Apologies. The damage to the armoring was discovered on the face of the dam in 2023, and as a result, administration intends to keep the gates at the winter operation levels until a repair can be completed. This repair is currently scheduled for 2025 and would result in the water management returning to routine processes as per the Bear River Control Structure Spillway Assessment and Study in 2026. Concurrently, administration is undertaking a reservoir options feasibility study to explore different long-term opportunities for the Bear River control structure. It is recommended that the report be received for information.
Thank you. I'm going to start off the questions. There are a few residences on the north side of the reservoir that are probably the most impacted by water levels. Have we spent any time meeting with those residents or talking to them so that they understand what's happening with the reservoir? Chief Glavin?
Thank you, Chair Blackmore. No, I don't believe there's been any engagement with those residents to date.
It would make me really happy if we did that. I feel that we're not providing enough information regarding the reservoir, and I've had a few questions, some of which I've been able to answer and others of which I can't, but I feel that it would be pertinent at this time to reach out, especially as I think most of them are expecting the reservoir to fill this summer. Is there any other questions? Councillor Berg and then Councillor Thiessen.
Yeah, thanks, Chair Blackmore. That reservoir to me is one of the most aesthetically pleasing areas of the city. I love walking around there. It's not in my neighborhood, but it's just something that I love to have in our city. So I look forward to ultimately having it filled. So to paraphrase, new issues were discovered that will require us to leave the gates open and not fill it for 2024. Is that correct?
Thank you, through the chair. Yes, that is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Thiessen?
Yeah, thank you, Chair Blackmore. Just a couple questions. First question is, do we have any high-level estimates on what the rearmoring of the dam are going to cost? Obviously, we're adding potentially to the studies, but just any estimate that we might have entertained while talking with SNC while they were working on the dam originally.
Chief Glavin.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair Blackmore. In the capital plan that was approved by Council, we have $900,000, although that's a placeholder amount at this point until the study is done. It could be less. It's likely to be at least 900, so it could be significantly more than 900. We won't know that until the work's done this year on how much needs to be done on the armoring.
So again, to paraphrase, if I could just intercede for a second. So we're asking, we're doing a design study this summer and the work next summer, which is why we can't fill it till 2026. Okay. Sorry, Councillor Thiessen, go ahead.
No, that's okay. We need that clarification. Just another question for administration. Have we entertained or looked into any potential other options with restoring sort of the reservoir, the natural wetland there, with or without the dam?
Thank you, through the chair. These options will be something that's explored as part of the reservoir feasibility study. That study is scheduled to start this year and is expected to wrap up in Q1 of 2025.
Okay, and that will include all possibilities for council to mull over, I guess, when it comes forward, whether that's rearmoring the dam, rebuilding it, what the costs look like going forward with the regulations that we have to maintain the dam, as well as potentially the removal of the dam as well.
Thank you, through the chair. We are hoping to narrow down through public engagement the number of options explored. However, we do hope to include any removal or modifications as part of this study, yes.
Okay. No, and that's...
we have one more administration chiming in here.
Thank you, through the chair. I just wanted to clarify that there are two separate RFPs that are going out. There is the armoring one that is out right now, but there will also be a reservoir feasibility study that will look more into what that looks like in the future and coming back to council with different options, and also trying to get that feedback as to what happens with that spillway and the dam.
And what's the timeline for that?
That is the one that is coming back in that we're hoping that it'll be wrapped up around Q1 of 2025. The armoring one, we're hoping to get before budget so that we can get those numbers for budget.
Okay. Do you have further questions, Councillor Thiessen?
Actually, Councillor Blackmore, just a comment. As the chair of the Mighty Peace Watershed Alliance, many times we're approached by various industry looking for ways to, I guess, reinvest around the waterways. One of those is sometimes around fish habitat rehabilitation. And there's a project that was brought to me. Sorry, there's lots of kids screaming in the background. There was a proposal that was brought to the watershed for consideration for us to potentially look into areas around the Peace River where we might be able to invest in reestablishing a fish habitat. One of the areas that I suggested potentially was the Bear Creek and the reservoir. Of course, it's dried up since then. But if we are considering filling it, this could be a longer-term solution that could preserve the natural beauty of the park and save us money over the long haul of just continuously repairing the dam. So I think it's definitely something we could look into, and part of the things that we could do in regards to reducing our own greenhouse gas footprints. So something to consider for administration.
Thank you, Councillor Thiessen. Pens are writing on paper as you speak. Is there any other questions? Then I would look for business arising. Councillor Berg.
Thank you, Chair Blackmore. I would like to recommend that the Operational Services Committee receive this report for information.
Thank you for that. That motion is in order, so I will call a question. And that does carry. Thank you, gentlemen. Moving on, we have no other business, no bylaw policy review, so I'll move to the outstanding items list and go back to Chief Glavin for an update.
Thank you, Chair Blackmore. With item 1314, the infrastructure upgrades at Borstad Hill, Ernie Redbird Pavilion, we will have that assigned to Christine Donnelly with an expected report date in likely Q2. For item 1230, the Design and Construction Standards Review, this had been waiting for the results of the Housing Accelerator funding, which we ultimately weren't successful in getting, so we'll also aim for Q2 on this. We'll see that might get pushed to Q3. And item 1287, the Reservoir Refilling, we heard today.
Thank you, and I would look for a motion to accept that as amended. Councillor Berg.
Thank you, Chair Blackmore. I would like to move committee receive the March 19th outstanding items list as amended for information.
Thank you for that. I'll call a question. And that carries. That concludes the standing committee meetings of March 19th. Thank you very much for joining us.